Can you hear me? Thank you, Dr. Finkelstein, for touching my grief. In September of 2008, I had an opportunity of meeting a grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, and he shared with me that he has been blacklisted by the Anti-Defamation League for comments he made about the state of violence in Israel. He also shared with me and my family that he had an opportunity to meet with Yasser Arafat when he was being held in his compound back in the day, and asked Arafat to consider taking a very Gandhian approach and having the people, the refugees, the Palestinian refugees of Jordan, line up along the river Jordan, and march in the tens of thousands across the border as a right to return. And I would like your comment on that. Thank you.
Actually, that would have been the subject of my remarks this afternoon had it not been for the events in Gaza. I do have opinions on that topic, and I just feel as a moral consideration, in the current circumstances, it just doesn't seem the proper place to be counseling the Palestinians the virtues of nonviolence. In the current circumstances. I mean, right now, at this moment, as things calm down, I have strong opinions, and they are closer to the ones that you expressed, but I won't do it now. I don't think it's right. That's just the way I feel about it. I'm not going to tell them now to be nonviolent after what Israel did. And I want to make one point. I'm not sure what his grandson told you, and I'm sure his grandson knows Gandhi's works, but there's a lot of misunderstanding about Gandhi. Gandhi was not a categorical pacifist. His views were very clear. He says, I prefer that people use nonviolence. I think it's morally superior. I believe it's as effective as violence to achieve your goals, but with much less cost. However, he enters two qualifications. Number one, you have no right to tell people they must use nonviolence. Because he says, and I'm quoting him, according to the current standards of right and wrong, violence is allowed. And so you can't suddenly say everyone has the right to use it except the Palestinians. No, you can't do that. And he's very clear on that. Number two, Gandhi is also very clear, and it will come as a surprise to many of you. Gandhi says, if you do not have it in you to act non-violently, and for him it's a very high standard. For him to act non-violently means to be willing to go, as he puts it, smilingly and cheerfully into gunfire and allow yourself to be blown to bits. That's for him what non-violence meant. To march right into the gunfire and allow yourself to be killed. But he says a lot of people don't have it in them. And he says if you don't have it in you to meet that standard, and you are humiliated, abused by someone else, then he says, you better hit back. And you better hit back hard. Because for Gandhi, there was nothing more disreputable than cowardice. If you read his writings, the two things you keep reading are manliness and manhood, which he prides, and cowardice, which he loathes. And he says, if you don't have it in you to be nonviolent, don't go running away and using as a pretext that you're nonviolent. He says if you run away, you're running away because you're a coward. If you can't be nonviolent, and you're being insulted, you're being abused, then you have an obligation to hit back and hit back hard. That's the real Gandhi, not the Hollywood Gandhi.